Welcome to Vyapt Growth Series. While we work tremendously hard to take our economy to the next level, our journey seems long due to global pandemic. But we have picked up ourselves and we know in our hearts that for our country, we will continue to grow irrespective of challenges, showing up in our way. As we take pledge and move towards self-reliant Bharat and move in directions where our exports are in demand across the world, it is also important to believe in the concept of healthy India by improving and further streamlining healthcare industry through various ways so that we can nurture strength to the grassroots level. To talk more about the healthcare industry, its growth and opportunities, we have with us in Vyapt Growth Series Ms. Sunita Reddy, who is the MD of Apollo Hospitals. Ms. Sunita, with over 3 decades of experience, has been instrumental in her contribution to encouraging medical value travelers to Apollo Hospitals and to India at large. Welcome to the show, Ms. Sunita.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
We start with our first curiosity. How do you see the growth of health infrastructure in India in the next few years?
So I wonder if I should answer this by saying, how do I wish to see the growth of health infrastructure? So if you look at India today, we have 1.3 beds per thousand, and the global average is 3. So clearly, I want to see us getting to 3 or maybe to 3.5. But to do that, we will have to make huge investments into infrastructure. And going just beyond that, we have to look at the number of doctors we have. We have only 0.65 doctors per thousand, not even one whole doctor per thousand. And again, we need to set up these medical colleges, and we need to do this very, very quickly, because I think this now more than ever, this pandemic has emphasized the need for skilled doctors and nurses. In fact, in the nursing space, we need to add about 300,000 nurses per year. And if you look at, the size of India's population and the fact that it's growing, I think it's well worth an investment of about 80,000 crores into the infrastructure, additional investment into skilling, so that we can really get India ready to perform, so that, we can have, when you talk about a healthy economy, you have to think of a healthy India. So this is probably what I'd like to see in India.
Wonderful. So when you talk about that, you would like to see India to grow into the next level in healthcare industry. What are the transformation required to leverage this opportunity?
So clearly, one is that we need to be able to attract this investment into healthcare. But we primarily, all of us have to recognize that we as individuals need to be healthy, and I think we have to also recognize, for people like us who are in corporate healthcare, that this has to be a joint effort with governments. So if you look at healthcare, it's a state subject, but it's something where the private sector and the public sector and the central government really need to come together. So this is what I would like to see, a good working proposition between private and public. And furthermore, if you look at healthcare expenditure, 68% of private spending has been in the private system. In fact, the private sector has added 80% of the bed capacity also. So I'm incredibly proud of the way, the Indian healthcare sector has transformed in the past 25 years. Going forward, I think there's a lot more that we need to do, and we need to do it to keep India healthy. So we need to continue to attract investments into healthcare. But more importantly, we need to make sure that this system by itself is sustainable. And today, that's actually a question mark. And it's something that worries me, because if you look at hospitals, if you look at, the fact that we support the country in many ways, if you look at just our socio-economic impact, The job multiplier is, is for every healthcare individual that is employed. Say Apollo, we employ 80,000 people.
Mhm.
The multiplier is 8 times. We support manufacturing, we support services into healthcare, including the fact that people from all over abroad come to healthcare. So even hotels to a certain extent, we support. But this is the multiplier effect of healthcare. And I want people to recognize this. So every time they think about should we invest and should we make healthcare a priority? Let's not only remember that you're protecting our country's most precious asset, which is a human being, but also we are creating an industry which currently accounts only for 1.3% of GDP and should account for maybe 5 to 7% of GDP. And it can do so with the right investments and the fact that we need to make, all of us need to be socially aware that healthcare has to be sustainable. So next time when you talk about the cost of healthcare, remember there's a cost of giving good healthcare.
Very true.
So this is really what I would like to see.
You talked about the transformation from business point of view. Can you also share some of the transformation from organization point of view? There are a lot of players in healthcare industry in India itself. From organization point of view, what are the transformations required?
So from an organization point of view, I think we're moving closer to the home. This pandemic has shown us now more than ever that it's really important that we create value where the customer is. And to do so, we've actually adopted digital health in a very big way. Besides, doing just 1,000 teleconsults with our doctors, we've done over 1 million with state governments. So we've gone to people's homes, we've gone to their villages and offered them expert medical advice. So digital health is clearly the way forward. The second thing that we did is that, we set up we moved into people's homes. So I think home care is another way of really protecting the elderly and the more vulnerable part of our population by taking care to their homes. So I do believe it's a way that we can accelerate the growth of healthcare using digital, moving into people's homes without actually having to build the brick and mortar version of healthcare. And this is truly playing out in today's pandemic. I think the fourth most, if you look at the third most important dimension of healthcare, is that we're getting very deep into understanding the DNA, genome, and by doing so, we're able to predict, the risk that we as individuals carry, whether we've inherited diabetes or heart disease, and we have a high degree of predictability where we're able to come out with a program that keeps you healthy. So yes, I think preventive healthcare is very big on our agenda, and it should be for every citizen.
So you sounded optimistic about the growth of healthcare industry, and you also see a lot of opportunities in the healthcare industry. So can you also help us understand that what are the direct and indirect employment opportunities can we expect through this growth?
So I think I said it earlier when you talk about Apollo, the fact that it has a multiplier effect. It has a 4 times multiplier effect on just GDP, but it has a 1 to 8 multiplier effect on just job creation. So if you look at India today, the thing that people talk most about is about job creation and the fact that we have the world's youngest population. So here is an opportunity to skill the younger population and actually become like the next IT and export healthcare services through our nurses, through our technicians to the rest of the world. Once a month, every Sunday, my father does a session for GAPIO, which is Indian physicians who are present all over the world. And we talked to 40,000 doctors and surgeons who are in the US and UK, and it makes it reminds you that India has a very good healthcare system. It had a very good healthcare system where we imparted very good healthcare education to our doctors, but all of them went overseas to become experts in their field. So wouldn't it be wonderful if we could set up that quality of universities, that quality of research in our own country, in our own backyard? I think this is something that we need to aspire.
Very true. So when you talk about that we should have some reverse brain drain and we should have our own people over here to serve our nation by improving the infrastructure of various healthcare, as well as improving the conditions of medical colleges in India. Do you also see that a lot of medical colleges coming up in India in another 2 years' time to ensure quality education?
Yes, I think the government did made a really good effort towards that, where they said that we could work with the municipal hospitals and attach them to medical colleges. So this gave people the leverage they required to create more such medical colleges, and I do believe that this is happening across the country. So we will see a higher number of graduates that come out from our colleges. But I think the second thing that you referred to about attracting talent to India. So way back in 1986, Apollo Hospital started with 4 doctors who were trained abroad. When we opened our third hospital in Delhi, we got 100 people from the UK and US coming back to join our hospital. And as corporate healthcare spread, many doctors came back from overseas and some of them started their own hospitals. But I think it's a learning for us that we lost these valuable resources, but we still have an opportunity to attract them back. And if you look at institutions like ISP, they get the best of professors coming back from Harvard, from Duke, from Michigan, and they come and lecture. So I think, we need to have a very open system where some of the best surgeons, the best doctors are allowed to come back to India and actually run these programs in medical colleges, hospitals. It would really take our level of healthcare to another dimension.
Okay. So my fourth curiosity has to do with you as in person. So you have dedicated yourself to improve the quality of human life. So what has inspired you and how has been your journey?
So 30 years ago, when I was working with my father, he's truly my inspiration. So he came back in 1961, I think, He came back and he didn't come back with a vision of starting Apollo Hospital. He actually came back as a doctor and he lost a patient who couldn't make it to the US on time for an open heart surgery. So he said, I have to really start this system of hospitals in India. And when we named the company, he didn't call it Apollo Hospital. He called it Apollo Hospitals because his dream was that big. He knew that it was not one hospital that could serve the needs of India. And even today, we're always creating a better version of ourselves. We have 70 hospitals, but more importantly, we also have 200 clinics. We have cradles for birthing. We're present through our telemedicine, in maybe over 3,000 locations. It's, we've gone beyond physical infrastructure. I think we've built on his dream, and which continues to evolve every day. And part of that, for me, I think a very personal inspiration came from, I was less than 30 years old and never really had time to do an MBA. So my first project was to raise money for Apollo. And that too, it was the first time that FDI had to come into India. So it was really working with him to allow FDI into India, but selling that dream to investors. And I remember taking the first set of investors around one of our hospitals, and this hospital happened to be in Delhi. And they looked at it, and my sister was very good at building hospitals. I actually built a very beautiful hospital. So that helped, having the infrastructure. But they said, this concept has never worked in India. So I looked at them and I said, listen, we built the infrastructure, we have the people, and we're so passionate about it that I'm sure it will work. But if nothing else, just think that you can convert this building into a hotel. And I was really surprised that he was ready to put his money there, that he was willing to invest. So at that time, the proposition of a hotel was far more attractive than a hospital. And to think that we provide such an essential service, which is looking after the human body, which is truly priceless. I think this dream, which is no longer just a vision, it's a living reality, has really helped me. Every day I get up in the morning and I'm driven by the fact that we're able to improve people's lives, we're able to enhance human life.
So very profound perspectives, and in fact the reminiscence which you shared with us is also really nice. So you did an MBA which was more of an experimental and on-the-job MBA to raise funds, and even at that point of time where raising funds was not an easy task, for part of FDI and other things.
Yes, I think there is a lot of learning from experience, but after all, don't forget this is India. So I did go to Harvard. I did do a program in Harvard, and I also went and studied accounting. So it is very important to have basic knowledge combined with experience.
So you actually did a business administration before you in your real
afterwards life. I did it after the first FDI.
Yeah. It has been great interacting with you, Ms. Sunita, and we are really happy that you have been on our show.
Thank you. All the best to you. Stay inspired, stay blessed during this pandemic.
Thank you so much.